astrology?
Astrology. Thanks for having me on, Jackie. We got there in the end. um,
Yes.
my journey has been very with astrology. I've been self-taught and I've been studying astrology for over 10 years now. So the journey that I've taken has been really organic. It's been something that has kind of just come up for me. It's not something that I've actually been out to look for. And the main essence of what the astrology was for me was to try and understand me in a non-physical way, and understand me away from just physical Naomi. It's looking at me from an astrological point of view, or seeing how the stars and the planets can affect consciousness generally. And I found so much tools in astrology and understanding the healing process that I needed to go through, understanding where my gifts were, where my flaws were, where my insecurities were. It unleashed so much for me that I utilized that for so many years without teaching it or without sharing it with anyone else. Because it was just something that it was very much about me having to go through that self-discovery process, the self-awareness process, and really understanding the depths of who I am and what I'm here to do, so that I can be aligned with my path, so to speak.
I think what's really interesting about that, I mean, all of it is interesting, but Coach by saying it's like a secret weapon, astrology, an amazing science. One of the things
It's
that
an
you
amazing
said,
navigation tool, and I think the navigation tool is something that we all need in this journey of life. It really is.
yeah, absolutely. And I know that you were just saying that healing, that you found astrology is healing. So if you can just share a bit more of that with us as to what and why you found it healing.
Well, basically, how astrology works is that when we're born, there's an alignment happening with the stars, with the sun, with the moon, and with that alignment, it almost is, as they say, so above, so below. So it's affecting us from a macro perspective. And the day we're born, so whatever day we're born, at the time we're born, it's almost like we take our first breath and we almost take on the energy of that day. And so it's very important to understand that day that we're born, understand the time, the numbers that we're born under, because they have so much hidden information about the direction that we're supposed to be going in, the people that we'll meet, the careers that we might go into. And when I'm talking about the healing process, for me, it was really to understand, okay, why is my childhood like this? And then once I understood astrology, I began to take it not personal. It was a non-personal thing. I understood that actually this is a part of my growth. This is a part of my evolution. And the more that I understand that it's happening external to me in the planet, in the stars, then it's almost like this is almost a gift in a sense. And it's hard to understand that our healing can be gifts, because when we understand that we can go deeper within the healing process, we almost transform the trauma or pain or anything that we've been through into that gift, where we're able to help other people with the same traumas or the same childhood issues. So it really can be a healing process, but it also can be something that you can look at where you are able to go deeper within yourself in terms of psychologically and mentally, spiritually, physically. It is a very holistic art form, and it's something that our ancestors from ancient Egypt took very, very seriously. And we can see that a lot of the priests and teachers utilize astrology and astronomy to understand when to do something, when to not do something, you know, what time to plant, what time to reap. And so it's really important to understand, or not even just understand, but how to tune back in with nature and the movements of nature and the movements of the planets and the stars and the sun and the moon. And we all are connected. And so it's important that we tune back in or align back in with that.
Oh, so that connection and the alignment and healing, I mean, they're all things that are really core to the essence of the retreat. So I'd like you to share with us, what you will be drawing on from your kind of astrology, that gift that you say, you find it as a real gift for you, a gift that has been able to bring forth transformation in your life. What aspects of that will be shared in your session at the retreat, which I know is focused on Hudu, and we'll talk about that shortly. But what will you be drawing on from the gift of astrology in the retreat on the Saturday, the 1st of August?
So from the astrological perspective, we will be looking at more into when's the best time to work on ourselves. And what's really important is with astrology, I do try and stay away from the generic side of astrology. So when you see the papers and you see all Leos will experience this today or all Tauruses will, I try and stay away from that because it is very generic. And, you know, some people may say, oh, you know, that doesn't even make sense. So what I'm trying to do with the astrology in the retreat is to open astrology up first, because sometimes a lot of people don't understand what astrology is, and some people may have misconceptions of astrology. So the first thing is really just opening it up to people to understand that everything that we do, our birthdays is an astrological event and also a very powerful event. So the more that we are able to align with our nature, the nature of the day of what we're born, or what we're here to do, then it's easier for us to find that healing process. And so within the retreat, we're going to understand and learn about the days, you know, especially aligned with the moon cycles, the days when we're able to find a deeper sense of healing, or when the days that we can be more assertive and more progressive and go and do stuff, and when's the best times to kind of slow down and just work within again, because there's times to go external and there's time to be internal. And I think it's really important to understand that self-care and self-love and self-healing also has a timing as well. So, and that time is going to be different for everybody, but it's important to understand when your time is, and not feel guilty about that, because I've definitely done that in the past, where I've stopped doing things and felt a bit guilty for not doing, you know, working or throwing things out there and being on social media. So it's really understanding about timings. And like I mentioned before, ancestors, they took timing very, 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 you know, it was up there as priority. So it's just getting ourselves in tune back with our own priorities as well.
That is so important, and taking ourselves away from this whole feeling that we've got to be doing, and really realize that it is essential for us just to be, and, you know, just being. And when we really connect with ourselves and we are comfortable in being, once we're comfortable in our own being, it will really take us naturally to the right doing that's for us. So I love that, what we're saying. The right doing that for us is really, really important. And I really believe that at the core of that is our ability to be comfortable with being who we are, but also just being with and for ourselves, whether that's, you know, being in a quiet space and place for a time, or whether that's doing for a time. So I love what you're saying about, you know, finding the right time, but we have to create and make those spaces for ourselves as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Within society, within itself, there's not much space to do that. And I know it's becoming more common, and the term self-care is becoming more of a thing now, which is good in a sense. But it's really important to, like you said, find that space and create that space. And, you know, this retreat is perfect. It's a perfect example of really being able to stop and say, okay, I need my time now, you know, and I'm going to dedicate and prioritize myself to doing something that can nurture me, you know, that can bring me more self-awareness, and also going deeper within my own healing journey as well. So yeah, I think it's really, really important, like you said, Jackie.
So how will Hudu, which you're going to share with us, help us to do that? I think first of all, share with us what Hudu is and your experience of it, how you were trained and so on.
So again, my astrology journey and yoga journey were quite tightly connected. I started training and studying both tools and systems around the same time. again, for the same reasons of going deeper
Mm-hmm.
within the self, self-awareness and whatnot. And after studying, I transitioned from a dance background into yoga background, into a yoga system,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to get deeper within what was happening within my body as well. Because we know that even on a psychological basis, and a mental basis, anything that's happening mentally and psychologically can impact on the body as well. So it's really important to understand the processes and what's happening in the body. So I really wanted to know and get deeper within the body, but within the systems that were presented to me, there wasn't much systems that reflected me and my history and my culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really, really determined to find a system that I could really delve deep within, that reflected me. So I did a training course in African yoga, or Smaitawi yoga. And within that system, there is another system or tool called Hudu. And so I traveled to Uganda to learn about African yoga and learn about the power of Hudu and how it's utilized within the African yoga system, and the benefits of Hudu as well. So Hudu is basically understanding how to work with the elements. It is very much about the elements, looking at the elements within and also looking at the elements external within nature. And so the human body is composed of the 5 elements. So, you get earth, which is the bones, fire, which is the blood, air, oxygen, water, comprised of over 70% of water. So, and then ether, which is the soul. So there's all these elements that we have within us that we don't really utilize, and we don't really take time to actually grasp the fact that we're made of every single element. And so it's really about retraining that and utilizing movement, which is rhythmic movement. And I say rhythmic because it's within the Hudu system, it's really about bringing that rhythm back into yoga. I know some yoga systems can be really static and very rigid in the movement. And this system, and which is why I loved it so much, it almost reflects a dance, so to speak. It's moving the body in ways that are more fluid, more circular, rather than linear, and allowing us to work through each element. So we have fire movements, we have air movements, we have water movements, we have earth and grounding movements as well. So they're really good. And I find I utilize these different hudus whenever I need more of a certain element. So for example, if I need grounding more, if I feel like I need to get more grounded, I utilize more earth hudu, which allows me to get deeper in the earth or ground myself a little bit more. So yeah, they have so many benefits, and I'd be happy to share them at the retreat as well.
Yeah, and I'm really pleased that you talk about using the elements for alignment, because that kind of alignment in our lives is so important. So if you need grounding, you think about using the earth elements. And while you were talking about Hudu, because you introduced me to it, and I absolutely love it, I actually felt like swaying from side to side. So yeah, so Davina, Coach by you saying that she will link with you. So Coach by you can contact Davina. She's on Instagram, so you can directly contact her there. And just in case anyone else has to go, because we've got about another 5 minutes on here, we will be speaking with Kerry tomorrow, who will be making up our beautiful pamper packs with some of her natural products. So that will be at 3 p.m. on Sunday tomorrow. So back to you, Davina. So alignment, focus, and clarity is what we will be looking at on the Saturday in the retreat. So can you tell us how, through the Hudu and the astrology, that will be brought together?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, with the astrology is all about alignment. Everything about astrology is about understanding the power of strong alignments and weak alignments. Like I mentioned before, when there's a strong alignment, when to do something, when there's a weaker alignment, then we pull back, we fall back a bit. And alignment can be tailored into many different things, but it's almost like the foundation of what astrology is. And so bringing that into what we're focusing on in terms of clarity and focus, it's really about, again, understanding when to do things and what tools to use during them strong points or them strong alignments that we can reap the most benefits from.
Yeah.
I was reading something from a book that from it was something that our ancient ancestors or ancient Egyptian ancestors used to speak about when the almost like a portal opens in the universe and there's gifts coming through. And this is coming back to the astrology thing again, is when there's a portal open and there's so many blessings and information coming through, and how we can better align with that portal opening, at specific times, specific places, and what's happening within our body, what's happening with the elements within our body. Are we nurturing them elements? Do we need more fire element? Do we need more air? Do we need more pranayama, breath work? And so it's really about understanding how we can bring all them things in to gain more clarity within our lives, within every single area of the life. So whether it's relationships, whether it's with work, whether it's in our personal lives, it's really important to find that alignment within ourselves first before we can go out and try and find alignment within anything else that's happening outside of ourselves.
Yeah, and that clarity, focus, and alignment, it's a really powerful interwoven trio. And there's a couple of key things that you said there. First of all, around breath work, and then the other thing is around opening ourselves up. And so if start quickly with opening ourselves up. Sometimes because we are always encouraged to put that front forward of the strong Black woman, it can be very difficult for people to open themselves up, to just be, and to be able to put aside any kind of masks, kind of open ourselves up to possibilities, to just be and receiving any gifts that are ours. But if we're putting barriers in the way, it can become very difficult for us to be able to just be and to just breathe. So I know you'll be doing some breath work with us during the retreat. And how will that be able to help us?
So breath work is such a powerful tool. And years ago when I was younger, I used to suffer from mild anxiety. And I just couldn't switch off. I didn't know how to just switch off because my brain would be going at 100 miles per hour. And it's only after I studied and practiced yoga that I understood that everything that's happening on a mental level is connected to the breath. So any fears, anxiety, stresses can be changed just by changing the way we breathe. And in Eastern philosophy, especially in African philosophies as well, they give so much importance to how we are breathing, how we can change our whole makeup by just the way we breathe. And I think when we're younger, I always explain this when I'm teaching yoga, is that if you watch the baby breathing, you'll always see that baby is breathing from the tummy. So you'll see that the baby's belly is going up and down, up and down. But then as we get older, the breath becomes quite shallow. So we start to bring the breath to the chest, and maybe sometimes not even in the chest. Sometimes we breathe in the throat and that's it. And then the stomach doesn't even move anymore. And I think that is related to when we move through life, we take on a lot of stresses, anxieties, fears, and the breath becomes really high and rigid. And so it's really about retraining the breath, because we don't realize how important it is until we're out of breath, or the breath slows down, or we're struggling to breathe, or we've got a cold and it's like, oh, I can't breathe, and we get frustrated because we can't breathe properly. So it's really about trying to connect the two. Everything that's happening on a mental level, there's something connected to the breath and how the breath works. And it's been said by a lot of studies that pranayama, or breath work, or the lack of it, is one of the key things related to anxiety. And doctors are really understanding that now. That's why they're talking about mindful breathing, mindfulness, and they're introducing that as an alternative method to reducing anxiety and stress.
Well, thank you so much, Naomi, for that and for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us. You will be part of the BEEYOU Sisters retreat as a valued contributor on the Saturday, the 1st of August, when it will be 2 till 5 p.m. and you will be with us for most of that time. Sisters, do come along. The link to the retreat is in the bio. You will be able to see what's happening on the first day, which is July the 31st, where we'll be having sound bowls, a kako ceremony. There'll be lots of things to ease you into a restful Friday night, getting yourself ready for focus, clarity, alignment. And we're all about alignment over balance. And if you want to know more about that, then come to the retreat and that will be shared there. Naomi and I are on the same page regarding that. Alignment is key. And then on the Sunday, the 2nd of August, we'll be looking at sleep and how important that is to self-care. And there'll be women's health coach Pamela Windle with us then. And I will be speaking to Pamela next week about her session at the retreat. And then there will also be a self-love lounge to end the retreat, where we'll be looking at daily self-care and self-love rituals, and we'll actually be practicing one together as a group of sisters. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Please tune in again tomorrow, Sunday, the 19th of July. And then I will be speaking to Kerry, CEO of Rena Sife Naturals, and she will be talking and speaking with us about how we can use and blend natural oils for healing and restoration. How exciting and just how peaceful. So thanks everyone for joining us, and hopefully I'll see some of you again tomorrow. And thanks again, Davina. It's been great. Enjoyed. We were only meant to be on for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And Tap, you've just joined when we're finishing, so you'll have to catch us on IGTV. But thanks for joining us, and take care, everyone, and have a blessed, fulfilling Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.